Thanks for joining us for the Clive Barker Podcast. In episode 444, we've got Nightbreed soundtrack news, Hellraiser interview book news, and you can get some original Nightbreed polaroids taken on set of the various breeds. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram is a longtime friend of Clive and advocate of his art, but Don's unique and inspiring paintings are for sale, and over 50% of the proceeds go to the Arts and Medicine program at the Texas Children's Cancer Center. There's even a paver at Washington, D.C. representing Celebrate Imagination. We're thrilled that this worthy cause is sponsoring our podcast again this year, and we hope that you'll consider looking over the Etsy shop to buy one of his original paintings or books. Follow the link in the show notes or click the side banner and let's see what's new with Don Bertram today. Don was recently featured on a video by the Pearland Chamber of Commerce. There's some new paintings on his Etsy shop to check out: Mother and Child 2, The Stargazer, The Folk Singer, The Pearl, Top of the World, and don't forget about his books, The Chimney Sweep's Tale and Celebrate Imagination. And just in as I'm editing, a brand new painting called Bouquet is available now. Link in the show notes. It's 8x10 oil on canvas, and all the proceeds, of course, go to the Arts and Medicine program at the Texas Children's Cancer Center. Well, welcome. This is episode 445. Good morning, or afternoon, I guess. Jose, how's it going?
Hey, Ryan. Doing good. A little, my voice might sound a little different today because the allergies are hitting me hard this spring. So I'll try to be as energetic as I can for this episode because we got a lot of cool stuff that happened in the meantime.
Yeah. The Nightbreed double disc soundtrack from Intrada is available to buy right now.
Yeah, finally, right? I mean, we've been talking about this every time, and we go to these forums and people are saying, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? Oh, they're working on it. And all of a sudden here it is. And with no fanfare, no announcement, no nothing. It's just someone at the Occupy Midian group was like, oh, hey, I've been waiting for this. And all of a sudden here it is, pre-ordered.
So, and we can, and it's got a track listing on it, which is great because I was curious, because it seemed like before all we got was what was available on the old 1990 soundtrack, and
that's right.
On this release, that 1990 soundtrack is disc 2 of the 2-disc set, plus some extras on disc 2. Yeah,
so the old MCA soundtrack album from 1990 was about 46 minutes, I think, the whole thing.
Yeah.
The new original film score that's released on the first CD is about 75 minutes of music.
Yeah, 42 tracks on the first disc.
So I wonder how many more different cues we'll be able to spot in this new release. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad that this wasn't available when they were making the Cabal cut and the director's cut, because they relied really heavily on the old soundtrack album for putting those together.
Yeah, so if there's any fan editors out there, now's your chance to rescore the movie.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention, so it's 75 minutes plus the 21 minutes of extras that are on CD 2.
Yeah.
So that adds up to about 96 minutes of music, which is very, very good.
Well, 75 minutes plus the 46 minutes with the old soundtrack, plus the 60... no, you're right. I see. Total is 68 for the whole second disc.
Yeah. But the extras are 21 minutes, and then the first CD is 75 minutes. So that's almost an hour and a half of Nightbreed music.
It's more than an hour and a half, right? Because 75 minutes on disc 1 and then 68 minutes total for disc 2.
Yep, it's 1 hour and 36 minutes. That's right.
Is 143 minutes.
Yeah, but you're adding the two soundtracks together, and there's going to be overlap on the cues. So,
are there?
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of the tracks from the 1990 soundtrack are included in the new release, the series of cues. So something will definitely be there
all of
on
disc
both.
1 already exists in. I mean, all of disc 2 already exists in disc 1. I thought they'd be different takes, or because like even when you look at Dream, it's a 1 second different running time. I thought it was going to be a different version.
Well, it might be, right? I mean, they don't explain in the back that some of these are, if they are demos or if they are different takes, but I don't think there's different takes like they did with the Lord of Illusions soundtrack. I know the Lord of Illusions 2 CD had, different takes for sometimes the same musical cue, but in this one, I think it's going to be the reason why I didn't include the original soundtrack, the 45 minutes, in what I was talking about is because the actual new stuff, well, yeah, I mean, there's going to be definitely overlap between the 1990 soundtrack and the new cues that are being put out. I just don't know how, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, because they so far out looking at them, they all have different running times than the ones on the disc 2. Sure,
that makes sense. Yeah, some of them are probably just the whole cue. Some things would bridge between different tracks or different scenes. Yeah. And for the 1991, it was only 45 minutes. So they were just kind of like the finished versions of whatever edit they did in the studio.
Yeah.
And they would put that in the record. But from 45 minutes to 96 minutes, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's almost twice as much music for Nightbreed.
Mm-hmm. I guess I would add them all together because we'll know more when they arrive. I actually ordered mine last night when this news came out. Because why not, right? I've got the new Philip Glass Candyman one with Candyman 1 and 2, and the Lord of Illusions double disc soundtrack from Simon Boswell. So, of course, this is next.
Yeah, and in the extras, you can see that they got Country Skin, and they have a medium version. Then they have the Country Skin fast version, and then they have a Country Skin slow version. So our cup runneth over with Country Skin from Danny Elfman and Oingo Boingo, right?
Yeah, I guess the one thing that's missing that I was a little sad about is I wanted to see Johnny get angry on the soundtrack here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting because it makes me wonder if this is all sort of based around the theatrical version of the movie.
My interpretation of this, and I guess only Danny Elfman could explain that, is that these are the cues that he had created in studio, and maybe this is like has probably music from recording sessions and whatever cues they could find. I'm not sure how much work went into organizing them or maybe even finishing some of them, but I wonder if this is going to bring a booklet with it, probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, because we first heard about this, I think it was a guy that was on Monster Party was talking about how he was designing the book. And that was the first time I heard about this news.
Oh, that's right. The guy who worked on the booklet.
Yeah. Cool.
That's pretty cool. It's $31.90, I believe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a lot, especially these days. I guess people aren't paying that much for CDs anymore, but it's worth it to me. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's a great release from Intrada, which has a large reputation of putting out soundtracks. And I'm glad they were able to finally pull this together and put it out there.
Yeah. It's funny because we're so used to the old soundtrack, and it'll be interesting. Oh, there's so many more musical cues in here now that, it's like, oh, yeah, we'll hear it and go, oh, yeah, of course. Because we'll recognize it from the movie, but was left out of this old soundtrack album.
Yeah. There's a quick paragraph here, just a couple of sentences in the website. They say, at the time of the film's release, a generous album was released on MCA Records with a generous cooperation of Universal Music Group, Morgan Creek, and Danny Elfman's team. Intrada was able to greatly expand the album into a 2-CD set. The first disc features the complete 75-minute score. The second features the original and carefully curated 46-minute album Elfman assembled back in 1990, as well as a suite of alternates. That explains the different the 2 CDs and the extras that they put together.
So there is overlap in there, it sounds like.
That's great that it's finally out. I don't understand why it was put out so secretly, but here it is. You can find the link to the show notes in the show notes to find this release. And I don't know how many they're making, so I would advise you guys to actually get it as soon as possible.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not like something that'll just be around on Amazon forever. I mean, it could be, but it could just be a limited time thing. I mean...
Yeah,
we all, in our fandom, we all think everybody loves Nightbreed, but you kind of go outside of the Clive Barker fandom and people are like, what?
Oh, I think I remember seeing that movie one time. The one with the monsters.
Right. Is that the one where the monsters are the good guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another exciting bit of news that was about to overtake the whole episode, but then we just kept finding more things to add today, is that... the Hellraiser Hulu 2022 sequel has been confirmed, right, by the producer.
In an interview, or I guess this was news broken by Fangoria. Mm-hmm. A producer of the 2022 Hellraiser is saying that they're in talks with David Bruckner, and things are in the works. So it sounds really, really early, sort of pre-production kind of stuff. And maybe they don't even have a script yet or anything. The only hints that they gave or teasers was that it's going to be crazy. Like probably in a similar way that the old Hellraiser 2 was a huge, kind of crazy departure from, in a good way, from the original Hellraiser, that they took the concept and sort of ran with it. So that'll be interesting to see, what do they consider to be crazy direction.
What's funny about this is that Fangoria's article was dated April 1st. So at first I was like, I shared
really?
it. Yeah, it was on April 1st that they put it out. And I was like...
Nobody started sharing it around on our spaces until...
Right.
Yesterday.
And I think that was probably because people... We're thinking, I wonder if this is like an April Fool's joke. But then I shared it immediately, of course, on our podcast page. And then I was doing something else that day, and I was like, wait a minute. Today is April Fool's. I wonder if did I just get suckered into sharing like Fangoria's April Fool joke? And then I went back to the article, and it's like it's not their exclusive. They're quoting another article from comicbook.com with the actual interview with Keith Levine. And when I went to that one, I noticed that the interview was from March 30. So I was like, nope, this looks legit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wow.
And David Bruckner had mentioned before that he would be open to revisit the Hellraiser that he did for Hulu. And now finally they're saying there's been conversations, right? He says, I can't exactly say, this is Keith Levine, the producer, I can't exactly say where we're at in those conversations, but Bruckner is involved in those conversations, and we spent a lot of time and energy, I think, relaunching that world. A lot of brain power going into crafting the Cenobite design, figuring out how we're going to pull them off, and we learned so much. I think moving forward, we love that all that knowledge is sort of banked, and that time has been spent. So we think that moving forward and going into another movie is just going to be even crazier and even more awesome. So yeah, that's something we're definitely hard at work on, and hope we will have more news soon. And they got in touch with Levine because they were talking about the new Omen that apparently he's producing. And then they asked him about Hellraiser. What do you expect out of this second movie? If I know we have zero information, but what's your idea? What would you like to see in the new Hellraiser?
I don't have any expectations. I like going into it without, just to let them. But what I sort of predict, I guess, is that they're going to make it. They're going to try to follow the path of Hellbound, right? The old Hellraiser 2, and just sort of open it up and have a lot more sort of crazy action.
Yeah. So, would you like to see a continuation of the story? Would you like to see the same characters return? Like,
I don't know. I kind of want Riley to have a happy ending.
So do you think just like Kirsty goes into hell to save her dad, that she might end up going into hell in the second movie to rescue her brother?
That's what. Yeah, I saw somebody posted that as a comment, as an idea for what might happen. And then there was another comment where somebody had said in their head canon that this new this new Pinhead was cursed, was Tiffany. So, lots of interesting fan theories.
They're kind of mixing in a little bit of the comic books in there, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that before we started recording, and I was like, what would I like to see? Would I like to see Riley go into hell to rescue her brother? I felt like in the first movie at the end, I felt like she came to terms with the fact that her brother is lost to her.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that she will be doing that. I don't necessarily need them to bring back Riley for the second movie, but I guess she and her friend are the only two surviving characters. Void is turned into a Cenobite, which could make for an interesting villain in the second movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how the dynamic would be between Jamie Clayton's Hell Priest and the new Voight Cenobite.
Yeah, is he going to be the Chenard of this Hellraiser 2?
A part of me knows that that's what modern reboots are like. They use the same beats from the old sequels and they try to make it more interesting and update that. But I don't know that I would like to see them. I mean, Voight as a Chenard is kind of an interesting idea, and I would like to see Voight come back in Cenobite form.
Yeah. Because
I think what's the point of displaying that glorious villain at the end? Mm-hmm. Or at least tell us what he's up to. He became a Cenobite at the end, so it would be interesting to use that character. But I'm not sure that I have an idea of where Riley's story could go from here. I mean, if she decided to go back to hell to save her brother, I think that would go against a little bit the idea that the notion at the end of the first movie that she made peace with the fact that her brother was dead and lost and could never come back. So who knows? Maybe different characters would be an interesting way to push the story forward.
Well, and if it were following the beats of Hellraiser 2, I think people love Hellraiser 2, and a lot of people like it better than the first Hellraiser, but I think what people don't like is Chenard killing off the original Cenobites. I don't think I don't know that would happen again.
Right, yeah. I guess we'll have to wait a little bit until we start hearing more about this. It would be nice to know when they go into pre-production who's going to be working on the story or if they have a writer and stuff like that. Yeah. But I think right now, like you said, it's a very preliminary stage, right?
Yeah, and I don't like to predict or to get my hopes up about the plot because it's whatever you think it's going to be. It's not that. But one thing I am getting my hopes up about is that the hype for this movie will cause the Hulu to allow them to make a 4K Blu-ray of the first movie.
Oh yeah, that'd be terrific.
Yeah,
because right now the only thing that exists is an British release of like a DVD.
I know
of the Hellraiser movie
with totally bare bones with no other features or anything.
Yeah, that was a weird decision. Must have been some sort of contractual obligation or something. I don't know.
It's also strange because the movie plays in 4K on Hulu. So what are they doing putting it on a DVD? They had to downgrade it. To do that.
They want you to go watch it on Hulu. They want you to be subscribed to Hulu.
Yeah. Well, and in England they don't have Hulu, so they had to put it on Disney Plus. And they probably knew that was going to be for a limited time, so I imagine that's why they did it.
Well, I would like to see the Cenobites from the first movie return. I don't know what would happen to the Chatterer, for example, who got destroyed in the first. I'm saying the first, but I mean like the Hulu Hellraiser. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Like Chatterer got destroyed in the first movie, and sorry about the spoilers, and then there was the other guy, Asphyx, who also got damaged and almost like left as a crumpled mess. So I wonder if those Cenobites get reworked and brought back.
Yeah.
Because there's always been a Chatter monster of some kind in every single Hellraiser. So
right, Chatterer and Pinhead are sort of in various forms are sort of constants.
It would be an interesting tradition to keep up for the next movie to have some sort of Chatter Cenobite or Beast appear as well.
And I liked what they did with the puzzle boxes in the first movie and having the different stages and the different configurations. But it seems like that's, you could be, when you include that, you have to build the whole movie around that premise. So I don't know if they could do that again, because that takes up a lot of time, going through all those different stages of the puzzle box and stuff.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like in the first Hellraiser, it takes forever to open the box, and then in the next movies, it'll just people just touch the box and it opens itself, basically.
Yeah, or you drop it on the ground and it opens. Yeah.
So I love the box. The new box design is so cool. I mean, no disrespect to Simon Sacy's work and Clive Barker's work, but the new box, and it's just tremendous. Like the different configurations and the way they made it. You can find it on Etsy. I think there's people already making copies of the various stages of the box.
I think that would be cool to have. I might look into that.
Yeah. Imagine having what was it, 6 configurations or...
Yeah, I forget
something
how
like
many,
that.
and they all started with L.
Yeah. It would be nice to see what happens to other people who choose a different reward at the end, right?
Yeah,
because we see the people who want sensation, and we saw what people get when they want for lore.
Yeah,
and when they don't want anything, it's just the lament configuration. So there's still the other 3 stages that I would like to know what happens when people select those stages.
Yeah.
There could be a lot of potential lore for this new series of Hellraiser movies from Holo.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I really hope that it does get made. It doesn't go into development hell. That this thing gets made and they put out a new physical release for the first movie.
I agree. That would be terrific. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Are you into the Omen franchise?
Oh yeah, I heard that there's been a lot of positive reviews for the first Omen. I think it's called, right?
Yeah.
I honestly, I've only ever seen the Omen. I've never seen any of the sequels or anything.
Oh, okay. I've seen the first 4 Omens with Sam Neill playing the Antichrist and priests getting beheaded by panes of glass from. That was car crash trucks.
The pane of glass thing was in the first movie.
Yeah, it's in the first one. Yeah. I've always liked the Omen, so I might give that a try if it's produced by the same people who made the Hulu Hellraiser. I'll see if I can catch that. I know it's being produced by Keith Levine.
So, with them calling it the first Omen, does that mean it's a prequel to the original movie?
I think it's a nun that gets sent to Rome, and then she finds. I think it's about the woman who gets pregnant by the devil to give birth to the Antichrist. I don't know a lot about the movie, but so I haven't really seen it yet. A really cool movie I've seen. I got to bring this up, even though it's not Hellraiser. It's Late Night with the Devil. Oh, yeah, I got to see that movie. It's an IFC film. It's got David Dastmalchian, who did Mentat Piter de Vries and Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Mm-hmm. And he plays a host and a TV late night show host. And he brings this parapsychologist and a girl who's supposed to be the sole survivor of a cult, kind of a seance thing. And it becomes pretty cool. Huh. It's like, you remember that dude who used to bend spoons, Uri Geller?
Yeah.
He went to Johnny Carson once.
Yeah.
And then there was the Amazing Randy was there, and the Amazing Randy was he had a check that he would pay to anybody who could prove that they could do a magic trick that would be real. And of course, Uri Geller, under the supervision of the Amazing Randy and Johnny Carson, they put these random spoons on a table. They gave him a spoon that was examined by Amazing Randy, and then he was like, I can't do it here. There's too many people. There's bad energy. It's like, I can't do it. But what if something had happened, What if he had done that? What if it was real? And it's kind of like what I think this movie gets into, Late Night with the Devil.
So the devil is on a late night talk show?
Well, not the devil, but yeah, something does appear, and all hell breaks loose. It's kind of like that Ghost Watch BBC fake documentary about I don't know if you ever saw that, but Ghost Watch was a British documentary about the BBC was saying, we're going to be visiting a haunted house in Britain. We're going to see if we can contact the ghost, the spirit. And it was supposed to be a live show. And then there's two girls living in the house with their mother. And then weird noises appear in the house. And the little girl appears with scratches on her face. And then there's a ghost called Pipes. And the ghost gets transmitted through the cameras to the studio. And then they created a massive seance with everybody watching at home. And then the studio becomes like possessed with poltergeists. It's kind of nuts.
Wow.
But some people actually thought that was true, and they started calling the BBC asking, what the heck is going on?
Wow.
Yeah.
So, no, I haven't seen that. What I have seen in the theaters lately is I went and saw the new Godzilla, the American Godzilla movie. And
the new Empire?
Yeah.
Godzilla and King Kong?
Yeah.
How was it?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. And I watched Dune Part 2. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to watch it, but then something came up and we didn't get to see it. Did you like Dune Part 2? Was it good?
Oh, yeah. It was great.
Oh.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer for Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah. Does Kong have like a mechanical arm now?
Yeah. Well, it's like a brace.
Mystical.
Yeah. It's just equipment that they put over. It's like a gauntlet.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, the people made it for him because he got hurt.
And now we got two different universes of Godzilla, the Japanese one and the American one.
Well, it's not now. I mean, it's always been like that.
Sure.
Like since
98.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I love seeing the way that Godzilla's atomic breath lights up the spines on the back.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, in Godzilla -1, as each spine would light up going up his back, they would pop out. Like a little further, couple of feet.
Because of the atomic breath energy accumulating inside him, I guess.
Yeah.
That's nice that we have another Hellraiser being confirmed that it might take a couple of years. I don't know how long they're thinking about it, but looking forward to this, and maybe Clive will have a little more input on that one because he was a producer for the first Hulu Hellraiser.
Yeah, and I hope they bring him back to produce that one too.
That'd be terrific.
Yeah, and so that news came from Fangoria, but also Phantasmagoria that we talked about last time. They confirmed their hardcover edition, which they had kind of briefly mentioned before, but they confirmed that it's going to be out next week. And they mentioned us. They thanked us and shared our podcast post and everything, which was really nice.
That was so good. Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm all ready to buy that hardcover when it comes out.
You listen to us. You really listen to us.
I know. I wonder if Pete told him about it.
Oh, that would be terrific.
Yeah.
So they just announced April 3rd that there will be indeed some limited edition hardcovers of the Phantasmagoria Hellraiser special. They're going to be signed by Cenobite actors Simon Bamford, Nicholas Vince, and Barbie Wilde, along with others who attended the recent launch in London. Yay. And they will be retailing at 35 Great Britain pounds per copy plus shipping by next week.
So probably like $50 US. And they said shipping might be expensive if they're having to ship out of the country because it's a heavy book. And I could see that. Hopefully they'll find some kind of a book rate to ship them with. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, that thing is like 375 pages.
Wow.
Chock full of Hellraiser goodness.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So we've got Fangoria and Phantasmagoria. We're covering all the Gorias.
What else? Oh, yeah. I mean, the 12-year anniversary of Occupy Midian was March 30th. So
yeah. And Facebook told me about that because it asked me if I wanted to reshare the old petition.
Yes, I saw it too.
Yeah. And so I'm like, hey, this is cool. I mean, I just did a screenshot of it because I don't want people clicking on that. I don't know what's going to happen if you try to click on that old petition now. It's 12 years old.
That's a good question. I don't even know if you can still put anything on it. I wonder what was the final tally for.
I think it was something like 12,000 or 15,000.
That's wild.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been a while, and I always confuse that. I in my mind I would mix up that number of petition signers with the number of people we got on the group because they were sort of rising at the same time.
Oh yeah, I see the petition that we created back then. It has 14,003 signers.
There we go. Okay, I was close.
Oh, you know what? There's still people putting their signatures on this petition.
Are there really?
The last signature was from John in Norway, Sandefjord, and he says, "I need it, December 4, 2023."
Oh no!
Like, my dude, go get the director's cut. It's on Amazon.
Yeah.
Anonymous from United States on April 25th, 2022. Hell yeah! I want the most complete version we can get.
Oh
my gosh! Guys.
I wonder if you know that one that bootleg thing that was half finished, if people are thinking the petition is about that.
Well, I think we explained it pretty well. We wanted the director's cut. But 12 years, where did that go, right?
I know. Yeah.
And now we got this wonderful book, the volume of interviews from Occupy Midian that came out of that whole effort. It's on Amazon right now.
And speaking of Nightbreed, Russell Cherrington's collection of Polaroid photos, behind-the-scenes Polaroid photos that he got during the whole Occupy Midian time. I'm assuming that's when he got those. He's got them for sale. You can you can look at his Facebook page, or I think he's also posted them on Occupy Midian, and those are. That's kind of a one-of-a-kind thing. Polaroids taken on the set of the Nightbreed characters, as they were being put together in makeup and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I think these might have been just continuity shots or just shots of each breed before they went out on stage. You've got a lot of creatures here that I don't think we even see clearly in the movie. So that's some background characters. I think one of these was Stephen Jones's sister. Like there's Craig Spector. There's Peter Atkins dressed as a Nightbreed. There's a whole bunch of characters. But his breed characters were cut from the movie. Oh. You can even see a clip of them in the Clive Barker Revelations website on those articles they have about the making of Nightbreed.
Yeah.
He was there with those two writers, Craig Spector and I forgot the other guy's name. But they were three made-up breed called the Cycle Slit Sisters.
That's right. So Pete Atkins was part of that.
Yeah,
yes.
But that never made it into the final film. So there was a Polaroid of that.
Oh, okay.
There's a Polaroid of that weird character that kind of looks like Boone from the back. That Laurie thinks she found Boone, and then he turns and he's got these googly eyes.
He looks more like the Toxic Avenger when he turns around.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah. No one here by that name.
Yes. And the lady with the hand growing out of her face and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting breed that you can only see in these Polaroids, and I believe they were taken by photographer Marie Close.
Ah. Yeah, there was one guy on Occupy Midian that said, like, how do we guarantee the provenance of these? Like, they're Polaroids.
Right,
just look at them. I mean, if you've seen any kind of behind the scenes stuff, you know that those are real.
Yeah. Came from Murray Close, who also did all the pictures, all the photography for the Nightbreed Chronicles and the Hellraiser Chronicles.
Oh, yeah. Those are great photographs in the Nightbreed Chronicles.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. So, yep, that stuff is out there.
Yeah. And Ed Martinez and Nina have released a Making of Dead Pit little mini sort of documentary on YouTube so that people should check out.
Yeah. So he explains a little bit, the things that he did, the practical makeup effects, and how the movie was supposed to have a different ending with the whole melt scene, and it was supposed to be cut differently, but then they went with a different ending. And you got a lot of behind the scenes, like makeup shots, shots of items from the film, animatronics, casts, molds, and then actual footage from their test stage melting things. And it's a pretty solid, like 8 minutes of behind the scenes.
Yeah, I haven't
good.
watched that yet. I need to get to that. I just have been kind of saving it until we were closer to the recording so that I don't forget stuff. Because I know we keep talking. This is also something we should bring up, is that we keep on saying next time is going to be Dead Pit, and it hasn't been. Obviously, we're doing a news episode now. We're not doing Dead Pit. We didn't do it on Easter weekend. It's going to be next weekend. And,
it's going to be next weekend.
We sound like the boy who cried wolf, and that we're not, but this is real. It's going to be next weekend, which is what, the 13th, I think, or?
Yes, it's going to be that weekend. We're going to record that on this Sunday, and then
Sunday the 14th.
That's right, and it'll be out that weekend. And I do suggest people find a copy of the Dead Pit, or you can watch it on YouTube. I'm sure it's easy to find it now, but we'll make sure that commentary track is the best commentary track you could ever have for that. Yeah,
and we've got this in the show notes here. We've got this so you can click on it and watch it now. We'll have it in the show notes, obviously, again when we do that audio commentary next time. So, plenty of chances to watch this behind the scenes video from Ed and Nina.
That's right. Great job.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it's a great job. I haven't seen it yet, but I will.
Okay. It's 8 minutes. It's not a lot. It is very dense, very packed with a lot of. There's a narrator voice, and they talk about all sorts of things, especially that ending, how it was supposed to be planned out the first time. So, very cool. A lot of interesting stuff. But Ed Martinez's YouTube channel has been putting out a lot of great detailed videos about behind the scenes, especially for the Hulu Hellraiser. They've talked with a lot of the people who worked on the special effects for that Hellraiser, and really good stuff that you can't see anywhere else, really.
I'm looking forward to that. And so for discussion points or interesting topics, there wasn't a whole lot. I did see that somebody in the Clive Barker subreddit said, "Hey, I noticed there's no Nightbreed subreddit, so I made one, and it's called Nightbreed Official," which is like, why are you calling it official? Okay, but yeah, so there's a Nightbreed subreddit, kind of like our Occupy Midian, I suppose, on Facebook, but it's Nightbreed. I haven't really gone into it yet. I've been thinking about it, but we've got a link in the show notes.
Yeah, I see the guy who created the subreddit. I think his username is ZZ87.
Yeah.
And his flair in the new subreddit is Narcisse. And there's already some stuff there. People posting a drawing of Peliquin and Shunasasi from 2017. Some guys have little figurines that they're posting there. Pins from Cavity Colors, and it's already becoming pretty active, so let's see if it stays that way. It's
got 83 members at this point.
Yeah, I just joined this morning.
I'll join right now.
There we go.
Yeah. I saved the link, and then I didn't get around to joining it yet. It's also things that we can share to, if they have new stuff that's not on Occupy Midian, we can bring it to Occupy Midian too. Yeah. So that's that. I thought that was kind of interesting, and also on Reddit, people are starting to talk about Beneath the Surface, the Aberrat book, the Aberrat companion book by Phil and Sarah Stokes. Yeah. So there was somebody on subreddit on the Clive Barker subreddit. It's like, has anybody heard of this book? How do I get it? And because there was only 120 copies made. So that's why it didn't occur to me, that now it would be kind of this rare thing to try to hunt down, because we were all getting it at the time that it came out.
I do remember that book had two different releases. One of them was a physical release, and then later they made a revised, expanded edition, I think, that was sold as an ebook, but that ebook doesn't even work anymore. So, Phil and Sarah, if you're hearing this, we'd like to know if it's possible to re-release the Beneath the Surface of Clive Barker's Aberrat in a physical form at some point. That would be good. I have the first edition, but then the other edition that you could download onto your computer, you had to download some sort of software to be able to open up the book and look through the pages, and I don't think that works anymore.
Yeah, that company's not around. But I think if I were them, of course I would like to have it now, but if I were them, I'd be waiting until Aberrat 4 comes out and then do the re-release of that.
Sure. Yeah, that seems like the way to go. Absolutely.
And maybe a sequel book, that covers the books from 3 and 4.
That'd be terrific.
Because I think that book only covered Aberrat 1 and 2, didn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think Absolute Midnight was included in that stuff.
Yeah, it didn't exist yet at that time. I just thought that was interesting. That it's neat to see newer fans that are looking for old stuff. A lot of times the people we end up talking to are fans from all the way, back the late 80s, early 90s and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I see here in this subreddit, you also put at the bottom here, hey, way back in episode 218, we had Peggy O'Leary for the Clive Barker podcast, and you dropped a link. Good job there. Spreading the word.
Yeah. Yeah, since they were talking about this book and Peggy O'Leary is featured in it, I thought I'd share that with them.
Yep. Good stuff.
And I guess that was it for our discussion points. And Patreon, we got a new member. So shout outs to David Anderson, Eric Vanderholt, and our new member, Daniel Elvin.
Oh, thank you so much, Danielle. Nice to have you there. We'll have to start putting more stuff in the Patreon as well.
And, of course, Don Bertram being our returning sponsor. Thank you, Don Bertram. And so, slowly building up. I'm happy about the Patreon thing. It's the Kickstarter was exciting, but it's like with my job now, I don't think I could manage that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of tough, especially being in Alaska so far away. And I'm in Ohio. And, right now we're only a single income house instead of a 2-income house. So we're working on that. I wish I had more time available and disposable income to take care of things like that.
Yeah, it's difficult. And it takes a lot of time, and I used to be able to, especially as a realtor, I could get away with, because I was self-employed. So I could get away with, working on stuff during work hours. But, I really can't do that now.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, as soon as we're done recording, I got to go back into work today to get more stuff done that I didn't get finished on Monday, on Friday. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm on salary now. So, so thanks. And if you want to be a Patreon member, we have a $5 tier where you can get access to, videos and things that aren't available to anybody else. We have the $10 tier per month, which has access to those videos, and we also may send you something once in a while in the mail. I need to look into that. I've got a bunch of stuff left over from Kickstarters and things that we could send to people, so it's probably a good idea. We've also got our book we could send out to people.
That's true.
Yeah. We'll start looking into that, now that this is getting this Patreon thing is more established.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I finally did, after we talked last time, as soon as we got off the episode, I did hook up the YouTube playlist to the Patreon blog, so now you can look at the videos that are not available elsewhere. They're the unlisted playlist that we have, which is Patreon content. And, and we made a Nightbreed promo video. An Occupy Midian interview book promo video.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff there.
Yeah. So, and I've been meaning to run that as a Facebook ad, and I haven't done that yet. But it's out there, and I shared it in a few places. Did I? I don't think I did share it yet.
I didn't see it. I got the YouTube video pulled up in front of me right now.
Yeah, and that was because I put it in our chat. But you're right. I think I hadn't, it's like getting it finally finished. I was kind of done at that point, and then I didn't actually go out and share it yet. So That's available, and I need to start sharing it around. We'll make everybody sick of it.
Yeah, and if you guys want to share that video around on your end, thank you for spreading the word.
Yeah, and we'd like to be able to get more people to get our book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for reading.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's also the $15 level on our Patreon, which is for advertisers. If you want to have an advertisement on our banner, on our blog and Facebook, and be, have ads in the podcast episodes, like you heard Don Bertram's ad in the beginning of this one, that's what that tier is for. Plus the other two things.
There's one more thing. The music that we have now, do you want to tell a little story about the music that you use for?
Yeah. So, I'm a huge fan of old Amiga games. And so for a long time, the intro music and actually the outro music too. Well, but the intro music I put in this Blood Money in-game music from an old Amiga game. And for a while I started to feel like, once we started we used to put all kinds of commercial music in our episodes, and we weren't supposed to be doing that. And I went back and re-edited them and took all that out so that we wouldn't get banned from YouTube and Spotify, and especially Spotify would drop us immediately if that stuff was in there. But I did put in, and it's at a low volume, but there's a song in-game music from the game Blood Money, from the Amiga, and by Psygnosis, and the artist for that is a guy called Ray Norrish, and and then I went on an Amiga group on Facebook and I said, hey, does anybody know Ray Norrish? Because I'm I explained what I've been doing, and they're like, oh, he'd be cool with it if you just put his name in the credits, on your blog. And so I did that, and then I started thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't just take people's word for it. So I contacted him on Facebook, and it took a couple of months for him to get back to me. But he said, oh, no, that's great. And not only, if you have other music, I'd be happy to, to work with you on that too. If I've got all kinds of stuff. So
really generous.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten back to him on that because he's like, do you have any particular style that you might like to use? And I'm like, I don't know how to describe. I just like his music.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't replied to that yet. But
maybe it would help if you told him what kind of theme our podcast goes with.
Yeah.
And maybe that would help him understand what kind of other music would work. But hey, if what we got going on works, I'm fine with it.
Well, in honestly, when we've had two different people make older versions of opening music.
That's right.
In the past, and people always make it like horror sounding kind of, and that's fine. It matches, it's what they think of when they think of Clive Barker, and I get it.
Sure.
But it doesn't really match our tone. For our podcast, and so we did that for a number of years, and I liked it. I like those songs, but I think it's always kind of a weird, jarring switch to go from this booming horror sound to then us chatting about Clive Barker.
Yes, I understand that. All right, well, I guess that's it for news this week, and coming up next, it's going to be the Dead Pit.
Yeah, for real
commentary
this time.
track.
Yep. And of course we're going to talk more about the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment at some point. Yeah, we've been putting that off for quite a while, and same with Jericho Squad. We really need to get back to both of those things.
Yes, yeah. And then we got more Hellraiser comics that we'll get into, more A through Z commentaries. Z is for zombies. We'll be doing Evil Dead 2, which is going to be probably one of the funniest commentaries we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And looking forward to more news episodes.
Yeah. We've right when we think there is no news, all of a sudden it all comes down on us.
It creeps on you, yeah.
But it's been, we've been able to fill a whole hour talking about. I don't know if it'll be an hour after we edit it, but but this is pretty good. We had some pretty decent amount of stuff coming out.
And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed. You can find the Clive Barker Podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. You can chat with us on our Facebook BarkerCast listeners group, our Facebook page, Twitter, or our Discord server. The best way to support us is to buy our book, The BarkerCast Interviews, Occupy Midian, available in hardcover on Amazon and ebook on Amazon and Apple Books. Fundraiser 10 is all about Patreon this year. Become a patron to get access to exclusive stuff, pick an episode topic, and maybe even get cool stuff in the mail. You can also buy a t-shirt on our TeePublic store. Go to tpublic.com and search for BarkerCast. Opening music by Ray Norrish. End credit music by Matt Furness.
Thanks for listening.